program is the Active Center.
You know, in modern American history, two presidents stared down two absolutely catastrophic economic crises. But their solutions, they were polar opposites, and they sparked a debate that, believe me, is still shaping our country today. So, was the government the problem, or was it the only possible solution? Let's break it all down.
This right here, this is the whole conflict in a nutshell. You've got Reagan, who believed that government was the roadblock to prosperity. And then you have Obama, who, staring into a disaster, saw it as the only emergency brake we had. These two quotes, they really set the stage for two completely different visions for America. Okay, so to really get what they did, we've got to get inside their heads a little bit. What was the fundamental economic philosophy that was driving every single decision they made? So Reagan takes office during this period of deep economic anxiety, right? It was called stagflation, this really toxic mix of soaring prices and super high unemployment. Now, from his perspective, the government wasn't just failing to fix the problem, it was the problem. He saw it as actively choking the life out of the economy. Now, jump forward and contrast that with Obama. He walks into the White House, and the entire global financial system is melting down. The economy is in a total freefall. For him, the idea of just waiting around for the market to fix itself, that wasn't just wrong, it was dangerously irresponsible. He believed government action was the only thing powerful enough to stop a complete and total collapse. So what you have here are two totally different diagnoses of a sick economy. And naturally, that leads to two very, very different prescriptions. It all boils down to one fundamental question. What actually creates economic growth in the first place? Reagan's philosophy is what we famously call supply-side economics. And honestly, the name says it all. The focus is entirely on the supply side of the equation. You know, the businesses, the entrepreneurs, the people who make stuff. The core idea? Just get out of their way. Make it easier and more profitable for them to produce, and the whole economy will benefit. And here's the logic behind that famous high tide metaphor you've probably heard. The idea is, when you cut taxes, you're not just giving money away. You're giving businesses and investors the capital they need to expand, to innovate, and most importantly, to hire people. That new activity, in theory, creates this big wave of prosperity that lifts everyone up, not just the wealthy. Obama's approach? Well, it flips the script entirely. It's based on Keynesian economics, which, you guessed it, focuses on the demand side. The theory here is that during a big downturn, the problem isn't that businesses can't produce enough stuff. It's that people aren't buying it. The economic engine has just stalled because there's no fuel. And this middle-out idea is absolutely key. Instead of starting at the top with the producers, you start in the middle with the consumers. The goal is to put money directly into the pockets of average families, because they're the ones who are most likely to spend it right away on things they need. That spending creates demand, which gets businesses hiring again, and that jumpstarts the whole economy from the ground up. Okay, so we've got the theories down. The talk is cheap, right? How did these ideas actually work in the real world, under the immense pressure of a national crisis? This is where the rubber really meets the road. I mean, the challenges these presidents inherited were just massive, though they were very different. Reagan was bottling that stagflation we talked about, that really painful combo of rising prices and people losing their jobs. Obama, on the other hand, was staring into the abyss of a potential second Great Depression, with the whole financial system teetering on the edge of collapse. So what did Reagan do? He went straight to the supply-side playbook. He launched a three-pronged attack: massive tax cuts to get people investing again, widespread deregulation to free up businesses, and a tight leash on domestic spending. The goal was super simple: get the government out of the way and let the private sector run wild. Obama went in the complete opposite direction, a full 180. His American Recovery and Reinvestment Act was a massive dose of demand-side stimulus. The whole strategy was to inject money directly into the economy through things like infrastructure projects, tax relief for families, and direct aid like extended unemployment benefits, all to stop the bleeding and restart consumer spending. So here's the billion-dollar question. Which one worked? And this, my friends, is where the debate just explodes. Because depending on which numbers you look at, you can tell two completely different stories about what happened next. Okay, for supporters of Reaganomics, this number right here, 20 million, is Exhibit A. It's the mic drop moment. After a really tough initial recession that was designed to kill inflation, the economy just roared to life, creating 20 million new jobs. For them, the case is closed. It worked, period.
But hold on, because the critics have a pretty sharp rebuttal. They argue that this growth wasn't shared equally at all. To them, Reagan's high tide was great for the yachts, but it barely lifted the rowboats, kicking off this decades-long trend of widening income inequality that we are still grappling with today. Now, let's flip it. For Team Obama, their Exhibit A is this: nearly 16 million private sector jobs. Think about it. They inherited an economy that was shedding 800,000 jobs a month, and they oversaw a turnaround that resulted in the longest continuous streak of private sector job growth in American history. Their argument is simple: we saved the country from another Great Depression. But defenders of Reaganomics push back hard on that trickle-down critique. Their point is that wealth doesn't just sit in a vault somewhere. As Reagan explained it, when a wealthy person buys, say, a yacht, that money flows directly to welders, to electricians, to plumbers, creating real, skilled, high-paying jobs for working-class families. But, the story isn't quite that simple. We have this image of Reagan as the ultimate champion of small government. But was he always against government spending? Well, the historical record reveals a pretty fascinating twist. It turns out Reagan wasn't against government spending on principle. He was against what he saw as wasteful domestic spending. He actually initiated the largest peacetime military buildup in U.S. history. He didn't see it as spending, though. He saw it as a crucial investment. In his eyes, this massive government program was actually an economic tool to defeat the Soviet Union. And the return on that investment? Freedom itself. And all of this brings us right back to where we started. See, this isn't just some historical debate. It's a fundamental philosophical conflict that is still at the very heart of our political and economic arguments today. At the end of the day, when you strip it all away, the entire debate comes down to this one single question: where do you start? Do you focus on the producers at the top, believing prosperity will trickle down? Or do you focus on the consumers in the middle, believing it will bubble up? And look, both sides can point to monumental achievements to back up their worldview. The Reagan legacy, taming runaway inflation, massive job growth, and, in their view, winning the Cold War. The Obama legacy, pulling the entire world back from the brink of a depression and rescuing the American auto industry. Both are incredibly powerful claims. And so the question gets passed to us. As we confront the economic challenges of our own time, we are still wrestling with this exact same fundamental choice. Is prosperity built from the top down, or is it built from the middle out? The debate continues, and you can be sure the answer is going to shape our future.